I have been asked by e-agricom to give my thoughts on the said topic, pursuing balance between supply and demand in the Philippine broiler industry. It's not a usual topic for me, so I did some research that I would share with you so that you would know where my comments, suggestions, opinion is coming from. There are a lot of slides that I will show, but most of them are just pass-by slides so that you would know the basis of my inputs. The outline of my presentation are as follows. Per capita consumption. LG said that in 2019, pre-pandemic year, chicken per capita consumption in the Philippines was at 13.3 kilograms, which is 3.67% more than 2018. Statista recorded the total meat production in the year 2020 and 2021 went down to 1.34 million metric tons as compared to 1.39 million metric tons in 2020, which is just logical because of the reduction in the production and consumption brought about by the pandemic. They have forecasted poultry meat consumption for this year, 2023, to be 14.32. Our own DA has forecasted per capita consumption of 14.67. Notice the use of word poultry and chicken if they talk about per capita or total consumption. Looking at PSA chicken inventory data, which they make a regular report with the information and the percentage inventory of different poultry being native or improved chicken, broilers, and layers, with broilers having 34% of the inventory. So does it mean that the earlier presented poultry and chicken meat consumption considers all these kind of chickens? How then should we calculate for broiler consumption? It was good that I have a copy of the broiler situation and outlook in December 2016, wherein there was a good explanation of the technical details, which will make us understand how DAPSA make their calculations. So I am using it as reference for this presentation, as all of the technical discussions on broiler supply and demand calculations are based on the information being mentioned in the broiler situation outlook leaflet published December 2016, which I validated recently from those people working in such topic. So what is our broiler per capita consumption? From the said leaflet, here it's clearly mentioned that the terms broiler and chicken meat are interchangeably used in this publication. Meat of native and other chicken types, such as game fowl, cod layers, and breeders, are not included. So poultry chicken supply is based on broiler production. For curiosity, I have calculated the meat coming from cod broilers and cod layers, for which I found out that if we're going to add the meat from the said cod broilers and breeders, it will contribute to 0.74 kilograms per capita. We go now to supply. We talk about the supply. This needs information on broiler meat production, imports, not including MDM, frozen inventory, deducting exports if there are. But you know that for the last 3 years, there are no exports because of the problem we had with the pandemic. And currently, we have a disease situation here in the Philippines. So we need to know the importations and inventory as these are two important inputs to get the volume of supply. We check on the importation of poultry broiler meat. What I'm showing you now is the data on the volume of importation of broiler meat or chicken meat with regards to the chicken cuts, chicken leg quarters, deboned, which is basically the mechanically deboned meat. As you would see, a total of around 108,000 metric tons or around 36% are the composite is comprised of chicken leg quarters and chicken cuts. MDM or mechanically deboned meat, which is recorded as deboned, is about 60% of the total imports. We also have the data. We compared the data with the sanitary and phytosanitary import clearance, wherein from the records up to August of this year, from this data, you will see that we only have 48% accomplishment of the importation as compared to the SPSIC that has been issued. This is just a graphic presentation of the importation, particularly on the chicken cuts and the chicken leg quarters as of September of this year. Note that there is a erratic volume of importation that is coming in. This is the inventory of frozen meat that are in the cold storage. So this shows the frozen meat that are stored in the accredited cold storages, broken down as local poultry meat or broiler meat and imported poultry meat. Again, this is only for the accredited cold storage. Frozen inventory is from accredited facilities. So there are an accredited storage facility. Where are they and why can't they be accredited? Can we have the inventory of frozen meat on an accredited facility? Frozen inventory is a component in determining supply. Hence, it will be good to have the inventories in all facilities that store frozen poultry meat. Accredited meat importers are now at more than 560 as compared to around 2040 in the year 2000 and 460 in the year 2020. Arrivals as of August is only 48% of the SPAC that has been issued. Consistently, monthly recorded importations are less than the SPSIC that has been issued. Why is this so? What is the basis of the issuance of SPSIC? Can we issue SPSIC based on the historical background of the meat importers? Why don't we just issue SPSIC in principle 50% of what the current system is doing? Plus minus 60% of the importation is said to be MDM, which is recorded as deboned. Why can't it be recorded as MDM in the importation volumes? Period. WTO commitment is said to be only plus or minus 25,000 metric tons. In this presentation, choice cut and chicken leg quarters alone, this is already 108,000 metric tons. So WTO is not a reason for the large volume of imports. What is or should be the basis of importation with regards to volumes and timing of arrivals, given the forecasted supply situation? Forecasting of supply. Forecasting models is a tool to read and foresee future developments to help prepare for, and mitigate impending cases such as market gluts and shortages. There are two ways of making a forecast mentioned in the leaflet of December 2016. One is by an econometric model that would result to a point forecast, which is the average, and two other scenarios represented by a band, which means that it is statistically probable that future events may happen below or lower and above or upper the point forecast. These slides show the econometric model showing the upper and lower band and the average or point forecast using the econometric model. This slide is the result of the econometric model which DAPSA is using for the year 2022. PSA has published data on the total weight of broilers they have recorded the last 3 years, the total of broilers dressed in the year 2021, which can be used in calculating supply projections. The other model is what you call the life cycle model. Broiler life cycle model, or LCM, is a model where the broiler life stages are converted into mathematical relationship using the parameters and schematic diagrams of broiler breeders in order to estimate potential production. The life cycle model incorporates the expected broiler production from grandparents, parent stock, and PS hatching egg importation. This is showing you the schematic or breeding level of a broiler. We normally import grandparents and parent stocks that will be producing parent stocks and later on the end product, which is the commercials. This is the record of broiler breeder importations as reported by the Bureau of Animal Industry. I have encircled here the important information that is needed in the calculation of broiler production. Namely, these are the female line, female grandparents, the female parent stock, and the terminal hatching eggs. Productivity assumptions or parameters. For the life cycle model, you need to set certain parameters for grandparents, parent stocks, and imported hatching eggs for you to calculate the resulting product. These are the parameters that I have used, which is according to the recommendation of the Philippine College of Poultry Practitioners. In summary, output for GP will be 45 PS per hen house. Output for parent stock is 125 DOC per hen house. And for those imported hatching eggs, we have assumed there is one female GP will be produced out of 4.17 hatching eggs, 3.32 eggs to produce one female parent stock, and a hatchability of 80% for terminal hatching eggs. Parent stock, breeder, and broiler production forecast based on the life cycle model. Showing you here is the parent stock historical forecast based on the life cycle model. As you would see here, I have made the projection of the parent stock percent stock forecast up to May of 2023. This is the projected broiler production up to May of 2023. Just want to highlight that those broken lines can still change based on the hatching eggs or broilers that will be imported. DA, BAI, and PSA has made use and aware of the life cycle model. As from the leaflet of 2016, note that they were monitoring the life cycle model. This year, they are also making a projection based on the life cycle model, as you would see from that bar graph. Supply and supply forecast. DAPSA is making use of the econometric models to make supply and demand forecast. Life cycle model generates numbers that is more than the econometric model. Life cycle model can be based on assumptions made in consultation with the stakeholders, not a guest. Life cycle model does not capture interventions or situations that reduce production. Thus, the econometric model capture interventions, situation that reduces initial projections. Whose responsibility is it to calculate effects of such interventions, situations that will reduce projections? Can we make a calculation model that life cycle model figures being the basis of the forecast and later update it regularly? Can we have a report system to serve as tools for updating forecasts, like requesting importers to submit report regarding actual numbers received, as GP operators to report actual monthly PS produced and placed into production? We only have 5 GP farm operators. Regular update on broiler farm capacities, that is GP, parent stock, and broilers. We now talk about demand forecast. Demand forecast was generated using the variables broiler production in carcass, beginning frozen meat inventory, broiler meat imports, broiler meat exports, and ending frozen inventory. This slide shows you the demand that has been used in the year 2020-21. I have highlighted here that the daily consumption being used then was 4,487 metric tons. This is the 2022 projection for broiler consumption done by the DA, making use of the PSA data as updated August of this year, wherein they were using 4,484 metric tons of broiler requirement per day. Demand forecast. From 2020 to 2022, DAPSA is using the same poultry meat demand of 4,487 metric tons per day as a scenario of low demand. On the said period, there was a drastic changes on economic activity that affected demand brought about by COVID-19. 2022 demand forecast still made use of 4,487 metric tons per day as the demand for poultry meat, but this volume is the upper point forecast and being used as the forecasted demand. In the chicken situation report of 2021, the last census was said to have been done in 2012. When will be the next census? Looking at the projections of year 2022 as reported in August 2022, I have come out with this data. In summary, I would say that total broiler supply, local broiler supply against the forecasted demand is 1% more. If we are going to include imports, it will be 11% more. If we're going to use the life cycle model without any regression, it will be 37% more. DA's average supply forecast is more than the upper demand forecast except on the last quarter, but significantly more if they are to use their upper supply forecast. The LCM model on broiler supply shows that we have better supply at 20.3 supply per capita. Hence the suggestion to make another calculation model making use of the LCM and later update it based on the latest inputs that affects the projections using the life cycle model as the benchmark. Volume generated by both the LCM and the econometric model in the start could be used, taking into consideration some of the suggestions made until such time we are convinced on what system of forecasting we can use in determining supply with the two models of calculating supply. To summarize my presentation in pursuing balance between supply and demand for broilers, we need for a method or methods of forecasting local supply and recording all available broiler meat that can be understood and agreed by the stakeholders. Define supply source of broiler meat for food security. A better understanding of the broiler production chain. understand situation of the local broiler farmers, better communication with and between stakeholders, and take a proactive approach. Thank you.